Today's AskReddit post. What do people learn too late? Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. Learning when to say no. Learning how to apologize when it's your fault. And how to not apologize when it's not your fault. Learning when to say no. This can be quite hard for non-confrontational people and/or people who prefer to avoid conflict in order to please people. Any tips for making saying no a more comfortable process? How to manage their finances. Lesson number 1. $1000 is not a lot to have, but it's a lot to owe. Asterisk. Lesson number 2. It's much easier to blow $100 than it is to make $100. That you might be wrong sometimes. Some never learn. Edit. Changed day to you. I've discovered that my nature is to never accept that I'm wrong. I will give excuses, argue, but not accept. I've made it a resolution this year to just accept it when I'm wrong. In Western cultures, if you admit that you're wrong when you actually are, and ask how you can do better next time and then do it, people will be a lot more impressed than if you're the guy who is never wrong. What not to share on the internet. I am so grateful that my party years of 1323 occurred in a pre-camera phone era. Amen to that. My MySpace pics are embarrassing enough. I'm glad I don't come across cringe-worthy pics of myself in skinny scarves and leg warmers. LOL. I lived in AZ. Why on earth did I wear those things in 120-degree heat? Not to mention my emo phase shudder. Those can stay in the family photo albums. The value of a good unconditional friend. Had the same best friend since I was 2. Don't know where I'd be without her. If this ain't wholesome IDK, what is? Interest rates, credit cards, credit score, money saving techniques. 401k. In other words, anything that keeps you from being trapped by poor money management. I straight up had to go out of my way to take a personal finance class to learn half of this poop, and that was like 2 months ago and I already forgot most of it. I recommend the book I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi if you need a refresher. I've been working through it myself and it's pretty useful so far. That it's possible to do everything ducking right and still lose. Just life in it. Edit. I didn't know that was from Star Trek. I just know it from a comment on Reddit 6 months ago, and poop is true. Chav Picard. May you live long and lit. How to communicate. I whipped out PP. Is this how to obtain GF? If the cops aren't there by now. Possibly. How dangerous driving a car can be. This is very true. I survived 2 car accidents without any scratch in 3 months. Drive safe and remember, just because you have priority way, it doesn't mean that they will give it to you. Pay attention. Sometimes letting go of your priority is the way to avoid an accident. Edit. By priority way I meant right of way. I didn't know how was it called in English, so I written how I would say it in my language. Don't worry if you aren't living an exciting or extravagant life. It's okay to live simply and quietly. It doesn't mean that you're wasting your life. That they are terrible at parenting. Too late and won't admit it. Your username is weirdly relevant. The value of walking away from someone toxic in your life. Even if it is your parents and family. If you are thinking of it and are scared and have somewhere where you can land in a safe place, then do it. It hurts like hell for a long while, but it gets better, and one day you realize how peaceful your life is and you find you only miss the family you wish you had had. Yes. Also, find a support net, but for your own sanity. Just avoid the topic with people who are curious. Not many people understand and will try to talk you into making up with your family. It's so hard in the beginning, but it gets much easier. You find your own people, create your own families, and your own peace. That some things can never be undone. The actions you take and the words you speak will come back around sooner or later. Yes, some words can never be taken back. I learned the hard way. This is why it's better to train yourself to think carefully before saying something. I didn't do that because I wanted everything to come naturally, but I realized that's just an excuse I use to avoid taking responsibility of things I said. This resonates with me so much. Words, man, they can hurt. Not everyone is going to like you, no matter how hard you try. You could be the juiciest peach in existence, full of flavor, yet there will still be those who don't like peaches. That most people will just help you, how and if they can, if you are honest with them. It seems like so many people feel the need to conceal what they actually want from you, and try to get it by presenting a half-truth or what they think you want to hear, instead of just being straightforward. That it's never too late to learn. You really whipped out the reverse there. Sitting on your ass all day is not good for your health at all. Rolls over onto stomach instead. Now you listen here, you little poop. Saying I love you or wanting to reach out to your family, friends, and loved ones, but crippling anxiety stops you. You never know when it may be too late to say these things. So be in the moment, and live love in the present authentically. That hating people who are different makes you nothing but unhappy. Wow, isn't that the truth? It could make you other things aside from just unhappy, but the implied message is truthful. That dwelling in the past only wastes your present and shortens your future. But thank you for your contribution on this platform. Mistakes have consequences. Sometimes they are huge consequences, such as a mistake while driving could kill yourself or someone else. Sometimes they're little consequences, but always learn from your mistakes, and that you should always be learning and improving yourself. Can you milk me, Foka? Do you have nipples? How to not give a duck about how others see you. Seems simple enough for me now in my 20s. But back in high school there were many ducks given about how others saw me. Ironically, those people that didn't care how others saw them were often the more respected ones. Also, there's a difference between not caring what people think and being a poop-sucking taint monkey. Don't be an asshole and try to pretend you are just telling it like it is. I think essentially if you care what people think for your own sake, you're doing it wrong. You should only care what others think for their sake. And even then take that with some salt. How slippery a slope addiction is. How quickly trying something at a party turns into being hooked. That no is a complete sentence. Don't get in the habit of auto-launching explanations and defenses. Oftentimes, the people listening will ignore all that anyway and just hear, but here's an opportunity to dissuade me. Look how hard I'm working to get your approval to say no to you. What do I do when every time I say no I'm being told I have to reply with more words? That the cliche you never know when it's the last time you'll see to someone should absolutely be remembered for every occasion. My best friend just died in a car accident this past Saturday, and the last time I saw him we got in an argument and he left and we didn't speak after that. I'm destroyed by it. My grandpa passed away 2 weeks ago from cancer. We flew to Saskatchewan, where he lives, and managed to see him. I talked with him and gave him a hug. Before we left, I had the feeling that I was never seeing him again. I snuck back into the room and gave him one last hug and told him that I will miss him. He died 6 hours later. I'm so grateful for whatever it was that told me to see him one last time before we went home. Pulling out is not an effective method for birth control. Up your game. Playa. Pray and spray all the way. That salary amount is not the entirety of an equation when deciding where to work. You have to take into account the cost of living, commute times, the safety of the nearby area, and the convenience of living in the area. Studies have shown that taking a 20-minute longer commute is as bad for your job satisfaction as a 19% pay cut. On top of that, wealth equals money in, money out. If a new job pays 20k more, but if rent property prices are 30k more per year, you are taking a pay cut. On top of that, you have to consider your future. Do you have to move to an undesirable location to work there? Crammed in a little apartment where the nearest services are an hour away? What about air quality? What about noise levels? Is this a place where you want to start a family and raise kids? All of those play a factor in determining the desirability of a job. I am a firm believer that my job doesn't exist outside this city is a bullpoop myth. Even if you're a super specialized rocket scientist with a PhD in orbital dynamics, NASA is not the only organization with a job opening for you. Many college degrees have no job market. Trade school is a financially solid option out of high school. A cat on his back inviting a chesty rub is a trap. Nothing can stop me from trying. The importance of writing skills for formal contexts. Writing is an important skill in nearly any field, and the more a career advances, the more important it becomes. The lack of adequate writing skill often holds back a career, yet many people squander their opportunities to learn writing because they think their class assignments are empty busy work, and they figure their skills in spoken English and informal text messages will carry over when they need to write for work. I haven't gotten to a point where writing skill has mattered much past getting a grade on a paper. But how poor does someone's skill in writing have to be that they are held back from a position that they fit beside inadequate writing skills? Is it just minute details that are important, like a semicolon, or something else? How short life is. To be fair, this quote generally has the tendency to encourage behaviors that make life even shorter. YOLO. That COVID-19 is real. Best not to learn this in the IQ. That mental and emotional abuse are a real thing. Red flags. The importance of education. As a kid you're always hear generic statements like, "This will help your career," but nothing specific enough to be useful. It's better to have a career in mind and then work backwards to find what is required to obtain it, then go for an educational path and hope it all falls into place. That cutting toward yourself is a bad idea. That cutting yourself is a bad idea. That being mean to people will get you nowhere. On a personal level, I completely agree. Unfortunately, the cynic in me has seen far too many assholes doing well in life to know this isn't necessarily true. To not stick, insert object, into, insert different, dangerous object. Do not stick hand in mouth alligator. Got it? Sticking your hand into the nose alligator, however, is fine. The view from halfway down. A poop load of the lessons in BoJack Horseman would apply in this. Red flags just look like flags when you're wearing rose-tinted glasses. Hurt my soul. 2 words. Flared base. I don't get it. Anyways, go to run. I'm putting up some curtains. Naked. On a stepladder. Above a basket of assorted fruit and vegetables. Oil up for safety. The deflector shield will be quite operational, but my friends will be arriving soon. Save your goddamn money. That they are responsible to unduck their lives, no one else. I understand the idea, but some people are dealt absolute poop hands in life that are nearly impossible to get out of for most without superhuman will and determination that many don't have. Or they live in a place where it's not even possible to do so without leaving that country for another. People can unduck their lives. It's just not easy. You're not responsible to unduck the initial circumstances you're born into, but you are responsible to clean up the messes you make, to repay your debt, to undergo personal growth in order to heal a relationship, etc. How to emotionally regulate. How to emotionally regulate what? Would you ducking answer? Nope. Gonna let you stew in it. That you can't stop me. Alright fine, I'll start you instead. That it's more important to appreciate your body for what it can do rather than what it looks like. It can bust open the buttons on my pants since quarantine started. That's being wrong and changing your mind is actually nothing to be ashamed for. Edit. Now I finally get to write that sentence too. Thanks for the award, kind stranger. : There are limits when it comes to drinking alcohol. Mine is 0. 2 years last week. That friendships and relationships should never be so difficult to be in that it drains you of joy or throws you into depression. And if you are that depressed friend that keeps losing connections with meaningful people, it's never too early to get help. Even if you think you can beat it, it's temporary, or you don't deserve it. Toxicity in any person is inevitable as people grow and change. What separates the toxic people from others is that they refuse to or are unable to recognize their own toxic patterns and cannot change their toxic behaviors when they negatively impact others. Unlearn your own issues. Do self-work. You're always going to be better for it. That if you comment on this post too late you won't get the award someone is spamming. Bro, you actually watched the whole video. I'd give you a high five if I was a human. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.